problem is with regret is that we tend to use it as a tool or as a clutch to prevent us from living our best lives. Hi, my name is Uzam Dingy. This is the Schoolberg Fat Boy Journals, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Before I carry on, please, your support is welcomed. So please click the subscribe button and obviously the bell notification so you can get the latest updates and get notifications when I upload a new video. Anyway, regret. Regret is seen as this bad word, evil word, and something that should be frowned upon. And more or less, yes. But what people don't realize is that regret can be used on the majority of time as a vehicle to propel you to a next portion of your life. I studied and tried to figure out what regret means to my life because quintessentially this is one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel. I didn't want the regret of never having tried to create content and to try to create a life of my choosing. I'm riddled with regret because of where I am right now in terms of my station in life. As I said in my previous videos, I'm struggling, and as a person who's struggling, this YouTube channel is essentially put out there to basically have a documentation or something to show that I was trying to better improve my life and better find myself in a better trajectory. So I round up on a video by Daniel H. Pink. Daniel H. Pink is a researcher who took time out of his life to basically research regret and see if this is a common phenomenon. What he found was everybody experiences regret, but it's a self-felt thing where a person is afraid to admit they have it, but it's a lived experience throughout the time. Then he broke it down into four kinds of regret, and all four fall into two categories. Now he says that usually, as he in his research, he found that everybody shared regret, and either fell the kind of regret that they mostly experienced fell out of these four categories. These categories are named as fundamental regret, boldness regret, morality regret, and connection regret. And both of these kinds of regret fell into two categories. One, a regret of inaction and regret of action. Those are self-explanatory, but basically he's found that mostly people skewed towards the direction of inaction when it came to a regret they felt most vividly in their souls. It's the regret of not doing something compared to doing something. So if you have a choice between these two things, always go for it, because you'll find that you will always regret not doing something compared to the idea that, geez, I did that. That was, And so what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to name all four, tell you how it reflects on my life and how I am where I am in terms of combating it, and little tips that Daniel gave to us to basically hopefully find yourself in a better space in life. I'm obviously going to leave a description of the video and the actual link so you can click on it and watch it at any time you like. It's a TED Talk and it's amazing. It's life-changing. Okay, first of all, foundational regret. Foundational regret is usually basically having a regret of something that is fundamentally that you didn't do. Usually what Daniel found is that it's based on two things, either education or money. So a person would say, I regret not saving enough money. And so a person will be in their 60s about to retire and realize they don't have enough to retire on. Or a person would, like myself, be 30 years old, broke, unemployed, and realizing that if they had finished their first university degree, they would be in a better position. Now, how that reflects in my own life, this is my third university course. I'm currently studying a university course in law, and it was after years of toiling and trying to hustle and trying to find a job that I realized that I need to go back to school. Now, I'd gone to university right out of high school, but then my parents passed away after my second year, and I was never okay, and I never recovered, and I spent 2 or 3 years drifting in that university system until I finally dropped out and I ran out of money. And so it's a really fundamental regret of mine, but it's not as hectic as others. The only reason why it's a fundamental regret is because I'm broke. Right now, I'm rushing to finish this video because my battery might run out. Because the cell phone I have is a 3-year-old cell phone and the battery life wasn't great to begin with. So that's a fundamental regret. I have no money and I didn't finish university. And the way Daniel says to tackle that is to basically forgive yourself. Have the ability to say, well, there's nothing you can do about something that has happened, but there's this runway of life that you can have ahead of yourself. And the things that make that type of regret toxic is wallowing in it and staying in it. So basically, feeling that regret is synonymous, but what makes the difference between successful and non-successful people is those who take it and then feel there's nothing they can do, or take it or feel they have to wallow and stay where they are. So effectively the tip is forgive yourself, but understand and recognize that you messed up like I did, but then move forward to the next step of your life. The next regret is connection regret. This one is really synonymous with me because I had a really close friend. I'm not going to name their name, but I considered him a brother. He was really there for me when my mom died and has stayed a really close and influential friend until around about 2014. The reason why I'm still talking about this friendship 8 years after the fact is because I still think about this person sometimes, and it was a really big friendship to lose. We lost it because of drifting apart, but then eventually a little fight that I forgot was about resulted in us never talking again. Daniels basically says, the video basically explains that the reason why the connection regret is a situation is because a lot of people who lose relationships with people that they love tend to not take steps to repair them because of two factors. One, they think the other person doesn't care. And two, they think it's going to be too awkward and too large of time has passed for you to fix those issues. So for example, a connection regret is usually then a scenario where a daughter wants to talk to their father they're estranged to, or a mother that is struggling to talk to their sister, or as in my example, a friend struggling to talk to a person that I consider the best friend. The tip is simple. Call them. Call them. If you feel so highly about this relationship, that person on the other side is probably thinking as much about you. And if the idea that it might be awkward, funny enough, people tend to 8 times out of 10 look forward to hearing from an old friend, look forward to hearing from somebody that is so important to them. And if it's such resonation in you, talking to them wouldn't hurt. The worst case scenario, the person is exactly how you left them. They're still pompous, they're still arrogant, they're still a bad person. And in that sense, you get the answer that you need. But then at the very least, you tried your utmost best to repair a friendship that you really miss. I don't know if I'm going to take my own advice, because the type of friend that I left was a person who used to remind me when I did something bad. And I have a feeling he's going to be the type of person, if I had to call them, would say, oh, you're crawling back. So that's my huge fear about it. And I hope to take my own advice to call this person again, but I don't know. Thirdly is the boldness regret. Now, boldness regret is my favorite to talk about because I love talking about instances where I didn't push myself to do it. Now, boldness is, everybody knows, the love aspect, the knowing that I could have taken a decision that could have changed my life. Case in point, I love using the love example because I hardly date and I haven't dated for years, but there was this girl. She was fantastic. She was smart, funny, beautiful, dated somebody I knew. But this girl, I always regretted never pursuing something with her. And the thing is with boldness is that you have that at the back of your mind that, listen, if I had done this, then I would have. Obviously, you have this notion that, oh, she could have been the love of my life, blah, 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 blah. And so with that aspect, boldness, the tip used is talk to that person. If some people regret never speaking up in meetings, and they feel if they spoke up more, it'll be opportunities for growth, promotions and so on. So the simple tactic is to do it. And then there's a tactic that is used by people in this regard, and they usually come in two, but it's basically variations of the same tactic, and it's called the 5-year regret. If you're faced with a decision or you're faced with a situation that you need to be bold, think about, in 5 years' time, are you going to regret not taking this chance? If the answer is yes, then that should elevate you or give you a better opportunity to move forward and take that chance. Whether it's a girl, whether it's a job, you need to take that chance. And secondly, another tip is to get used to failure. If you get used to failure and be accustomed to it, and it's part of your second nature, it doesn't hurt as much to try, because the idea of failure, you realize, isn't a big hoo-ha. Granted, the worst thing a girl can say is no, but yeah, there's worse things a girl can say. But at the very least, it's not going to kill you. And you're going to move forward knowing very well that that person doesn't like you, and you can move on and move your affections to somebody else. Same thing with a job. If every time you propose something or try a certain thing at work and they kick it out, then you should know that that workplace is probably not for you, and you should be seeking other avenues to make income or seeking other working opportunities. So it's important to speak up, number one, but number two, be accustomed to the possibility of disappointment and failure, which will make it easier and less fearful of trying in the first place. The next regret, which is an interesting one, is a morality regret. Now, a morality regret is the least usual one, and that's regretting hurting people that you love or hurting other people. I can't think of a time. Maybe I've cheated on a few tests, but I've reconciled with that. Maybe I have hurt somebody who I cared about, which has happened a few times, but I'm really quick to apologize, and nothing is stuck. And there are a lot of people who have these type of regrets. Number one, the tip used, I would suggest, is to, number one, apologize to the person who's aggrieved. This is basically based on that. If you apologize and seek retribution from that person, you are taking steps towards the right direction. The next tip I would suggest is to basically, again, forgive yourself. But most importantly, then seek in yourself a chance to improve. People aren't going to forgive you, but that is forgive you right away. People aren't going to forgive you right away when it comes to a situation you've done to them. But that doesn't give you an excuse to then let go of the opportunity to improve and to stop that behavior. So if you were a bad person and that person you hurt still isn't in their right mind to forgive you, that shouldn't give you the right to then toss the retribution journey aside. You still have to move forward and try to forgive yourself and improve to be a person who never does that again, and to be a person who doesn't do it to other people. And then when that person is ready to forgive you, they can forgive you. But they may never forgive you. And in that case still, you should then dedicate each and every minute to being a person that loves people and respects people and make sure they don't hurt people ever again. And live with the regret of hurting that one person who still doesn't forgive you. But you are a danger to society if you take that non-forgiveness from that person and then use it to hurt other people. You're just proving that person right. So you have to take that on the chin and say, this person doesn't forgive me, I'll stay this bad person to them, but it is my job, because I'm still going to meet other people for the first time. I'm still going to meet other females. I'm still going to meet other gents. I'm still going to meet people in my future. And it is my job to make sure I don't do to them what I did to that person, and to make sure I grow and become the person that I know I can be. So your job is to be a good person and wait for that person to finally forgive you. And even if they don't, that shouldn't give you an excuse to carry on being a bad person, or an excuse to then rest on your laurels when it comes to being a good person. And those are the 4 regrets, ladies and gentlemen. If you want any more information, I suggest you go down to the link in the description and find the video talking about regrets. And there are other resources that I might put out there for you guys just to check if, and most importantly, when it comes to regret, don't let it fester. Take it in, understand that it's something that is in your life, but learn to use it as a propeller to move to the next step. When you see it, take that energy, feel that energy, and understand that if you're put in a position again where there's a certain scenario again, you're never going to do that again. So for example, if I meet the girl of my dreams, trust me, I'm loving the person to death. I'm going to tell them, and if it hurts me, it hurts me, but at the very least, they're going to know that I love them. If I'm left with a windfall of cash, I'll know what to use it with. I'll know how to infiltrate it. I'll know how to use it to increase that income or to supplement that income. If I'm faced with a chance for education, which I am right now, I'll make sure I graduate and I'll make sure I finish the course, which is what I'm doing. I'm in my 3rd year of law. I'm doing really well and I'm happy. And lastly, you need to understand that regret is something everybody experiences, but doesn't have to be something that you feel alone. So tell your friend, tell your girlfriend, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell people that are really close to you what you are regretting in life, and the reassurance from them will then put you at ease and make you be a more balanced and more zened out person. Anyway, guys, check out the socials. Check me out on Twitter, I'm Schoolberg7. On Facebook, I'm Uzabdinga XUZMDINGI. On TikTok, I'm Schoolberg. And please, guys, just go on those socials. Go and check up on this YouTube channel. And please, keep on subscribing. Keep on supporting. And I'm a huge fan of your support. And yeah, let's keep on killing it. Schoolberg. And I'm out.